They've already had Mass this morning, and at that Mass for the election of the next Pope, Cardinal Ray delivered the homily, and he said something important, in part, quote, "There is also a strong call to maintain the unity of the Church. The unity of the Church is willed by Christ," he continued, "a unity that does not mean uniformity, but a firm and profound communion in diversity, provided that full fidelity to the gospel is maintained." That really goes to the core, Nora, I think, of these questions facing the church. There are people who want it to change, and then there are so many others who say, no, this is a 2,000-year-old institution. It's a rock.
And remember, I was mentioning that a lot of people think Pope Francis was revolutionary. A lot of these cardinals want some calm as well. So that will be part of this voting that could go on as early as today, a vote expected. And joining us now with more on the many things the cardinals will likely consider in casting their votes is CBS News papal contributor Francis Rocca. And he's covered the Vatican for 15 years. So good to talk to you. All right, they're taking the oath to secrecy. There's going to be these secret ballots, of course, that could begin as early as tonight. But how much could they decide on this first ballot? How important is it?
Well, in theory, they could get it all out of the way in the first ballot if Cardinal Parolin has so many votes sewed up. What's more likely is that there will be, this is a feeling out exercise. A conservative cardinal, leading conservative cardinal elector told me yesterday that a bunch of them intend to vote for Cardinal Erdo from Hungary to see how much strength they actually have on the first ballot. And sometimes you get people getting 1 vote, 2 votes. It's very scattered. And then they show their strength.
You know, Frank, I mentioned the thousands of journalists who are here, and the journalists have a role in a new kind of way here because so many of these cardinals are meeting each other for the first time. And so what do you do when you meet someone for the first time? Maybe you Google them. Maybe you read an article or two. How does that shape what happens inside the conclave?
Well, the press has probably never been more influential than in this conclave. Cardinals have told me that because, as you say, they don't know each other very well. Pope Francis called them together very infrequently, only really once in 2014 for open discussion. And so they're relying to a great extent on the press, God help them.
You know, what's interesting is the history of the papacy has been European popes from Rome. And then we had the first pope from the Americas, Pope Francis. But many people are thinking, could there be a pope from Asia or from Africa? Cardinal Tagle of the Philippines was a rising star. Some people think that may have fallen today. But now a new cardinal from the Philippines, Pablo Ambo David, has emerged. What does that tell us?
Well, it's interesting because he's very charismatic. He's very committed to social justice, like Cardinal Tagle. He's more liberal than Cardinal Tagle on some of the neuralgic and sensitive issues. For example, he's defended Pope Francis' decision to allow the blessings of same-sex couples. Cardinal Tagle hasn't wanted to talk about that. So it'll be interesting whether that's a limitation or actually an asset.
Really interesting.
Really interesting. Frank Rocca, thank you so much for having us. Of course, the Cardinals believe that the Holy Spirit will find them in the room there in the Sistine Chapel. John Tower in New York has found me in my ear and told me we are out of time for now from Rome. We will bring you the start of the conclave in a CBS News special report, of course, 10:30 a.m. Eastern, 7:30 a.m. Pacific.